What's happening, everybody? Look who we are. Coach Brian, Coach Chris.
Look who we are.
Here we are. We are actually showing you some personal training workouts. I've been a personal trainer. I always do this. I'm actually not a personal trainer. I'm a strength coach. However, I personally train people. Chris has been in the same boat as me. Collectively, we got over 30 years of experience training clients, athletes, kids, you name it, we've trained them.
Yes.
So you might be brand new to the profession or career of personal training. So you might be wondering, without taking too much education or extensive research or studying, what does a personal training or trainer's workout usually look like? So in a nutshell, there always has to be an assessment. I don't care if it's your first time on the job or the 30th year on the job, or if you've always been with the same client for 30 years and you've never assessed them, you have to do some kind of assessment. Chris knows his body. I know my own body. I know my limitations. He knows his limitations. If you're not aware of your limitations, you have no idea what you need to be doing in the gym.
Right.
Think of personal training and your workouts as a form of training. You're trying to get better over the course of your entire life. It's not just a workout. You're actually trying to improve and reach a goal. And that the only way you can reach that goal is by knowing where you're starting from.
Right. If you're not a better trainer after 5 years than you were when you started,
right,
something's the matter.
So, in a nutshell, what a workout should look like, we're going to go through a bunch of different exercises like what we use for our clients or things like that. But we're going to show you some beginners workouts per se and some more advanced workouts on how to structure things differently. So you got your assessment. We're not going to show you that because there's a bunch of different types of assessments, but what you always need to start a workout with is some kind of warm-up. And if you've seen any of our other previous YouTube videos, we have so many dynamic activity, dynamic warm-up. If you want a full, lengthy, dynamic warm-up, just go back into our search bar on our channel and find out our dynamic.
Tons.
But so Coach Chris, he's going to get warmed up here doing what he knows he needs to do to warm up his body. And I'm just going to give you a couple other verbal cues on how to set up a program. So Chris is going to be spending, I'd say maybe 3 to 5 minutes doing dynamic exercise. This is going to be much more important than your traditional static stretching. As you can see, he's doing dynamic movement. His arms are going, his legs are going. Not just that, but also what's going on the inside. His heart rate's getting elevated, his lung capacity, he's breathing harder, but he's also just making sure that his body is able to move in a more explosive way. Again, dynamic movements can be jumping jacks. It could be some, butt kickers, some high knees, some power skips. It could be some leg swings. It could be some skipping rope. And it could also be just type of cardio training, getting on a spin bike, getting on a treadmill, arc trainer. The whole idea of that is just to get the joints lubricated, get the body moving. And I'm not talking, run your client or run yourself into the ground, but you want to warm up with intention. You don't want to just do a couple of these and get right onto a bench press and expect massive gains. Like, he's already breathing hard.
Sure, absolutely. If you don't move like that for a minute and get your heart rate up,
so he's going to continue his warm up, making sure, because we're going to do a lot of different compound movements, lower body, upper body. So he wants to make sure that not only are his muscles warmed up, but they're primed and activated. So we're going to be going through some muscle activation exercises for the muscle groups that we're going to be using here in just a moment. This is the world's greatest stretch, a phenomenal exercise, incorporating some mobility and things like that. Again, don't be intimidated by trying out new exercises on yourself and also with your clients. Because again, a lot of clients, and this is based on experience, a lot of clients, they don't like the same thing day in, day out. They like doing different types of movements every type of session. I've had clients where they're like, I never want to do the same workout ever at the same time when I'm training with you. So throw in different types of dynamic exercises to warm up with. I mean, that could be something simple as like running around the building for 5 minutes. That could be doing some type of battle rope routine, doing mini band exercises. Even boxing's a great form of, dynamic exercises.
I mean, yeah, you could just do just like like a quarter squat position here, and just do. I mean, we're talking. You're working with men, you're working with women, you're working with 20-year-olds, you're working with 80-year-olds. You got to have different warm-up and dynamic movements based on your clientele.
And that just
women love stuff like this. Just you got the shoulders moving, You got kind of like an athletic position.
Right.
Stuff like this just gets the heart rate up. It's great for.
And you just mentioned something that is extremely important. Don't use the same exercises on everybody across the spectrum. Again, Chris knows his limitations. I know my limitations. I know what I need to do personally to warm up my body in the way that it should be. Not every exercise is going to be effective exercise to use for every client. And that's where expertise and education really comes into play there, because some people might have underlying issues, and you won't know that until you do some kind of formal assessment. You know, a lot of is revealed through assessments, and also just communicating with your clients and athletes, finding out, did they ever break their ankle? Did they ever jam a thumb? Because all that has an effect on how you exercise.
Absolutely. Grab a band.
So we're going to continue warming up. What we're going to transition into is usually what's normally accepted in the strength and conditioning world is your complex or compound explosive movements. These are things like Olympic lifting, plyometric activity, multi-joint movements like bench press, squat, deadlift, things like that, where you're recruiting the most amount of muscle in one particular exercise. So we're going to just do a bunch of different exercises that we're actually going to work out with, and these are just some exercises that you can use just for a little bit of help if you need some new exercises for your clients. So a simple tool that you can use when setting up an actual program is a good push-pull routine. This could be upper body, it could be lower body, it could be arms, core. So what we're doing here is just a very simple push-pull routine. We've got a straight bar set up. I'm going to be doing some standing overhead press. As you can see, Chris here is knocking out some banded pull-ups. If you're new to pull-ups, or if your client or you personally want to get better at pull-ups, and you just kind of suck at them right now, grab a long bungee, and that's going to give you the assistance that you need. So right now we're going to be probably doing 3 sets, 8 to 12 reps, 8 to 10 reps. Progression-wise, obviously ditch the band, go heavier on weight, and that's pretty much it. But a good push-pull routine is a safe way to set up a good routine that you can bounce back and forth with, just making sure that you're getting the adequate force production necessary for both pushing and pulling muscles. I mean, there's other exercises, bench press with a low bent over row. There's
squat deadlift. Obviously.
Squat deadlift,
more common.
Yeah, like a bi-tri, things like that. Quad work versus hamstring work.
It really helps too, especially with whether you're a newer trainer or a newer client, helping to bring balance to the body, because so many of us are so good at working our frontal muscles.
Yeah.
The anterior muscles, but the posterior muscles are kind of
right.
That's why people have tight hamstrings and weak glutes. And
yeah, it's also a good way to let the muscle that was just being used a good chance to recover. So think about it. Like Chris just did pull-ups. His back is still resting, but now he's going to go to the standing press, which is mostly upper chest, deltoids, triceps, things like that. So his back is still resting. So now he's getting the rest he needs, but he's working a different muscle. Then he's going to go, obviously, rest on this. He's going to rest his shoulders and go back to the back. So it's a good way to fill downtime, so you're not just standing around with your client waiting for them to recover to get the next set done. So he's still getting his workout in, but he's doing it in a way that there's little downtime. And especially if you're with the client, I mean, I can't tell you how many times clients of mine showed up late just because that's what they do.
That's right.
So now the workout that you had structured and planned, you got to jam it all together.
Right. Make the most of it.
So you make the most of your workout by doing compound sets or supersets, circuits, joining push-pulling exercises into that. So I'm going to go. After this, we're just going to show you another exercise or two on another type of push-pulling that I know you'll find helpful. So machines can also become your best friend as a trainer. Some people say, oh, you should never use a machine if you're a trainer or under supervision of a trainer. However, machines can actually be one of the best tools to use for beginners, just because they are fixed in their plane of motion. You're able to pretty much just get in a safe setting, and a trainer can always make fine-tune adjustments with seat height, grip, the width of your grip, trying to figure out just stability of the body. And we use machines here all the time. I've used machines with high-level athletes and clients, and there's nothing wrong with using machines. Now, if you're only on a machine your entire workout, or if your trainer has you machines for 5 years straight, you're never touching free weights, then you've got an issue. But throwing in machines every once in a while, like what we're doing right now is another push-pull complex chest press and a lat pull down. It's a phenomenal way to
high row lat
high
pull.
row, yeah. So you're still chest back, back and forth.
Push pull.
But we use them here all the time, but we obviously incorporate other forms of exercise.
Absolutely.
So, but they're also advanced too, because these particular machines are unilateral loaded. So you can go right arm versus left arm. You could go one. You can do alternating reps. Not all machines are built that way, but just know that some machines do have the flexibility of making things a lot more challenging. And if you've seen any type of professional bodybuilding routine, bodybuilders use machines a lot just because they're really good at isolating the muscle being used. So again, use machines in your workouts. There's nothing wrong with them. Just make sure you set them up properly. So the thing I've learned over the years is that in order to be a good trainer, your client is your number one focus. Get your own preferences, your own agenda out of the way. Do whatever the client wants you to do. I'm telling you, if you start thinking yourself above the client, you're not, because they're the one paying you. If they don't like an exercise, scrap it. If they don't like how they do something, scrap it. Always be asking feedback from your client. How'd that feel?
Yeah.
Feel good, right?
Good, yeah. How hard was that?
Yeah, was it hard? And you can kind of gauge if they're breathing hard, if they're like, yeah, that felt really good. Write that down, because next time they want that exercise. Some people, they love exercises. Some people hate certain exercises. Don't do the ones they hate. No matter what benefit they might get from it, because clients, it's a sales job.
There always is an alternative exercise for that body part.
Whatever your client wants, give it to them, and I promise you'll have a client for much longer than you thought you would. So we're at the tail end of our workout here. Now we're going to transition into more isolated movements. This could be unilateral training. This could be single joint movements, like for instance, like a bicep curl. Again, these are a little more slower in pace. Might need to take a little more rest. However, instead of doing some isolated movements, you could also use what we call a finisher. This is going to be for a little more advanced individuals. We're not doing a finisher right here, but what we're doing is a nice isolated unilateral training, a single leg Romanian deadlift, and we're going to superset that with a Bulgarian split squat. Still focusing on the lower body, a little more slower in the setup for these. And again, you can pretty much create any type of workout you want. We always like to do 2 exercises back to back, just because we don't like sitting around wasting time. And also, this is one of the things that you need to be mindful of when you're working with a client or an individual. They always have preferences, and usually men like to do some kind of arm curl. They like to get that arm pump, especially when they're walking out of the gym. They can feel a little, vascularity happening. So it doesn't hurt to throw in a set of arm curls at the end just to keep your client happy. Us, on the other hand, we don't like to do too many arm curls just because we just don't. But we always love a good arm pump every once in a while. After this, you could do another set of an isolated movement. You can go back to the upper body. We're doing a little heavier on the upper body today than we normally would. But again, this is just a template for use. And yeah, after that, after doing a set of this and then another sequence, you can do another set. And then if you have time, get to the floor, do some mobility work, do some core work. You know, maybe even doing a finisher, you know, some like high intensity metabolic kind of conditioning. Get on a rowing machine for 1,000 meters, get on an Airdyne bike, do some sprints on a treadmill, things like that. Gosh, there's so many variables that go into creating a 60-minute program. But the more you do it, the more you're gonna know what you like, what your client likes, and then you'll hopefully take some mental notes and repeat that for the next workout that you've got. So as you can see, Coach Chris right here, Bulgarian split squat with some 40-pound dumbbs and making things happen. So we're gonna finish our sets, and we're gonna finish off here with a nice little core cool down, and then we'll conclude with that. So stay tuned, don't miss out on what you got next. All right, so we made it to the final round of what we're doing as a workout. We're gonna combine a little bit of core with a little bit of finisher, as we call it, like a metabolic conditioner. Coach Chris right there on the battle ropes doing some single whips. I've got some weighted Russian twists. Nice dynamic movement. And then for fun, I'll throw in a little buzzsaw plank right here. So core doesn't have to be anything traditional. It could be dynamic, it could be holding, it can be with other various pieces of equipment like a battle rope, a med ball, sandbags, sledgehammers. Just try to feel, you know, your core working, not just your abs, but your core, your obliques, your serratus, your lower back, even your upper hips, or excuse me, upper quads, hips. So what we like to do is just throw everything, a lot of movement, not too much isolation for the core, because everything we've been doing up to this point, we're focusing on isolating our core. And if you know anything about me and my training, and you've seen my videos about core training, my core, your core is going to be used in every other movement, especially any type of unilateral movements or bilateral, anything that's not bilateral training, suitcase carries, single arm movements. So have fun with the finisher. It can go for time, it can go for reps, it can go until you puke. This is what the clients remember. The last part of the workout, the last 10 minutes, they want to feel good, but they also want to feel like they can't walk out of the facility. So throw everything you got at them. Obviously, keep it safe, but make sure they're having fun, and make sure they remember your name. Heart rate's definitely jacked up on this one, which is a good thing. Shoulders, arms, core, chest, hips, legs, by doing these 3 simple movements. So that right there, ladies and gentlemen, is hopefully a rough idea of what a personal training workout might look like. Very dynamic, all over the place, but there is structure to it. There is a science behind it. Complex movements after a nice warm-up, isolated movements, core training, stretching. We're not gonna get to the stretching portion just yet. If you wanna get some nice cool down stretches, watch some of our other videos. I think that's it. Hopefully I've encouraged you to either become a personal trainer, take your education to the next level, but even just you're gonna personal train yourself. So hopefully you got some fresh ideas and a good way to structure your upcoming workouts.
depending on too what level client you're working with.
Right, so.
There's regressions for everything, there's progressions.
Right. So another tool to use is a report that we wrote called How Actors Get Shredded. It talks about a bunch of different types of variety of exercises and formats you can use for training. And it's what actors and actresses have used in the past for upcoming roles. Get the report by clicking this box right here. Click it, give us your email, and we'll send you the PDF right away. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel by clicking right here. And check out this video below that I know you're gonna find helpful. That's it, Coach Brian, Coach Chris right here. Thanks for watching, have an awesome day.